down with Fox Noticias, that's Spanish for news, for a sort of hybrid, multilingual, not particularly cunning lingual, I should say, but certainly multilingual interview, wherein it was supposed to be an easy one, a softball interview, and it went terribly wrong, as these tend to do for Donald Trump. Here is Trump waxing poetic about the good old days of tariffs in the late 1800s.
There is a chance that the money from tariffs could be so great that it would replace, in the old days, about 1870 to 1913, the tariffs were the only form of money. And that's when our nation was relatively the richest. We were the richest.
Now, let me translate. When Trump, you might be saying, what does he mean that tariffs were the only form of money? That doesn't make sense. I thought money was money. And of course, you're right. What Trump means is the government did not have income tax revenue. It had tariff revenue. And that's true for a period of time. Of course, at that point, America made its own stuff rather than 50 years of choosing cheap foreign stuff over domestically produced stuff. We did not have a federal government that provided really almost anything in the way of social welfare programs as we do now. We didn't have an interstate highway system to maintain. Everything was different at that point. But Trump loves to insist that we were as prosperous as ever. By the way, we used leeches as medical treatment at the time. So I don't know why we're talking about going back to 1870. But we didn't have an income tax. That's absolutely the case. Also, women couldn't vote and slavery had just ended. But that's what Trump wants to go back to. All right. Really funny moment. The interviewer tries to teach Trump how to say, "Make America Great Again" in Spanish. And it goes about as poorly as you would expect.
Mr. President, I'd like to teach you how to say, "Let's make America great again" in Spanish. So, vamos a hacer América Grande otra vez.
America Grande otra vez.
America Grande otra vez. I actually have it already. I have it here because this one's going to be useful.
America Grande otra vez.
Otra vez. Otra vez. Disaster interview. And that was only one of the humiliating moments. The deportations came up. And what better opportunity to talk about deportations than with the Spanish-speaking interviewer? Donald Trump says that he's going to make it easier on farmers and hotels who depend on migrant labor. And he talks about doing their crops. Does this guy understand anything?
One of the things I am doing, though, is I'm also making it easier on the farmers and the hotels and everything, because you have a lot of farmers that they're not going to be able to, do their crops and pick up the corn and do all of the things that they do so incredibly well. So we're making it so that if a farmer can give recommendations to people, we're going to be very soothing in terms of perhaps letting that farmer have, they're sort of responsible. Yes. And we're going to have the farmer take responsibility. But, ultimately, at some point, we want the people to go out, come back as legal. We're going to send, as you probably know, we're doing a self-deportation.
Yes.
And we're going to make it comfortable for people. And we're going to work with those people to come back into our country legally.
Yeah. One of the things that becomes clear when you listen to Trump talk is he has no idea what most workers actually do. We need people to be able to do their crops. We were told that there was nothing better than having a businessman president because he knows business. Turns out his businesses are not so good. And also, he doesn't really seem to understand much about what workers actually do. This is supposed to make Trump relatable, and it very much doesn't. Now, meanwhile, Trump did say, we need immigrants. Some are saying that's the win. It's surprising that he even said that. All right. And then finally, Trump saying the opposite of what is true about the recent Supreme Court decision regarding those illegal deportations.
Todavía hay preguntas sobre el ilegal que vivió en Maryland. ¿Sí o no será retornado a los Estados Unidos?
The question was asked was, there are still questions about the illegal. This is her word, not mine. There are questions about the illegal who lived in Maryland. Will he be returned or not? That's what Trump was asked.
As you know, the Supreme Court, after we get out all of the fake news from CNN and all these other people, we won that case 9-0. And basically, that's really a decision that will be made by the government of El Salvador, because that's where, I assume that's the one you're talking about.
Yes, he's from El Salvador.
Staying there, and he's from El Salvador. So that's a decision up to El Salvador. Okay. But it's interesting because we won that decision 9-0 in the Supreme Court. And if you listen to the news, you wouldn't know that.
Right.
You would really have no idea.
Fair enough.
And of course, that is very much not true. The Supreme Court says that the Trump administration must facilitate and arguably effectuate the return of that individual. But Trump is insisting, no, 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 they found in my favor. Very much not true. This is an easy interview. This is an interview with not a single challenging question.